Boom, shakalaka boom. You've tuned in to the free-range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It starts right now. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards, and we are coming at you live here on 103.9 FM WYAB here in central Mississippi and all throughout the area on the Big Stick from out here in Florida, Mississippi. Again, it's WYAB. We're streaming worldwide in stunning HD. That's high definition for the folks in the back. Folks with a Jackson, Mississippi Public Schools degrees. Them's high definitions. You're watching this on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. Just search at Save JXN. If you missed any of the show, you can always check out the podcast, audio only format. We trim the commercials out and get it loaded up. Try to make it easy, quick, and compact. An easy, quick, and compact listening experience for you guys. It's usually up by 10:30 every day, depending on how long it takes me to get it edited and thrown up there, but always before 11. So check that out by searching Clay Edwards Show. Hit subscribe wherever you're watching at or listening at. It helps us go a long way. And hit share wherever you're watching at. Please help us grow. We're battling with Facebook again. They went back 2+ years and found a post they didn't like. 2 years. Found a post they didn't like that I shared from my Facebook page that no longer even exists. I shared a post from Guns and Gear for an ammo sale 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And they put some restrictions on our page. So I've been here. I have done all I can with Facebook. I was on here last week talking about how they've turned the corner. It seems to be all as well. You can get away with whatever you want on there. But I guess prior restrictions are now being enforced, even though they're no longer restrictions. It makes no damn sense to me, but whatever. We're going to keep chugging along, doing whatever we do. I was pushing subscriptions and all that on Facebook. That's been paused. Moving all that over to YouTube. Should have already done it anyway, which I ain't like I trust YouTube either. But, we've got to monetize this thing. And if it's YouTube, it's Facebook, or if it's just setting up a damn recurring payment option on the website for people who want to donate and get cool stuff in return, then we'll do that. We'll figure it out one way or another. I digress. And no sense in beating y'all up with that. It's Cinco de Mayo here in Jacktown, And they got started early. They got started early on Cinco de Mayo weekend in Jacktown. Maybe you've seen the videos. Maybe you haven't. We're not going to play them this morning. You had to go back and find them. They're all over my X, Instagram, and Facebook pages at Save JXN. Just scroll back a couple posts. You'll see them. Multiple videos. Y'all have heard about the online battle, the online rumor. The speculation, the challenge of 100 men challenging one gorilla. Could men beat gorilla? Well, they had a qualifying match here, a qualifying battle royale right here in Jackson, Mississippi, Friday night. That's right, they did. It's been all over the internet. There's a security guard out there that I have drafted into my team, into my quadrant. I don't know his name. I would like to know his name. He went in live against about 100 or so other humans. He won successfully. We feel like, based on the size of some of these humans, that he whooped that he's got a good chance against a full-grown gorilla. One woman ended up naked in the photo somehow or another. We figure because she got hit so hard her pants fell off. At least that's the story that I'm going with. Anyway, Jacksonians, all joking aside, showed why we call it culture rot. Friday night out at Margarita's Mexican restaurant there on corner of Pearl Orchard and County Line Road. They showed why folks have quit going to restaurants in Jackson. Why folks just do not want to come to Jackson and be around these folks. I mean, why? Why would you come and be around this nonsense if you don't have to? I mean, there's literally not a single thing that I need to come to Jackson for anymore that I can't get in Rankin County minus the gunshots, or Madison County minus the gunshots and the fighting and the shenanigans. And why would anybody subject their families, frankly, or themselves, to any of that? Man, I remember going to Margaritas, and I'm going to tell y'all more about it. Well, hell, let's just say that. I remember going to Margaritas. That's where you went and had birthdays, good times, happy hour, good Mexican food. I'm sure the food's still great. I think I know, that family that owns Margaritas owns a bunch of Mexican restaurants around here. I kind of have a hard time feeling bad for them. I'm pretty sure I heard DJ music in the background. Unless there's a couple different fight videos from different Mexican restaurants weaved together. But nonetheless, they had security. It really tells you all you need to know about how far things have slipped when your restaurant has to have armed bouncers. I don't really need to know anything else. It's not a place that I want to go frequent. And that's not just Mexican. That's any place. Like if you have to have armed bouncers inside. Now I understand if you're, say you're Chriselle's, for example, over on Highway 80. They got an armed guard outside because the area around them has gone to hell, and they're protecting the people inside from what's outside. But they don't have, and there's a difference in an armed security guard outside than armed bouncers inside. Let's just be clear about that. I owned a nightclub for years. There's a difference. That should tell you all you need to know. Anyway, so you'd go to Margaritas and so many places in Jackson that you used to go, and man, when we cut the lights out when we left, we really cut the lights out, didn't we? So they turned it into an absolute full-on, the entire restaurant brawling. And it seemed to be mostly black women doing the fighting. An entire restaurant full of black women fighting one another. Well, really fighting the security guards. I'm not quite sure what happened. Maybe were they having Dollarita specials over there? Is that what it was? Was it Dollaritas? But I'm calling it mayhem at Margaritas. Absolute crap fest. It's just embarrassing. Because people that aren't from around here, they assume that the Tri-County area is all Jackson. I'm old enough to remember when we used to call it all Jackson. You just say, no matter where you were from around here, you just said, I'm from Jackson. It was called the Greater Jackson area. So I shared this on X, and it's got over 500,000 views at this point, not to mention the hundreds of thousands it's got on other areas on the other social media platforms combined. If you count some of the large accounts that I know for a fact stole it from my page because it's my caption still on the page, still on the video, like Dom Lecrae, the guy, big quote-unquote influencer on X, stole it, and it's gotten millions of views, and some others. Point being, it's gone global. And Jacksonians will wear it with a badge of honor. There'll be a rap song about this. We fighting up in Doritos. Going hard on Doritos. Busting heads to the white meat on county line. Even our girls busting heads to the white meat. Again, it's embarrassing. If y'all want to go out somewhere and have a good time here on Cinco de Mayo and not have to worry about those type shenanigans, get over and see our friends at El Patrio Mexican Grill and Cantina right there in Flowood, Mississippi. They're having a big little block party of sorts. They got live music all day. There'll be drinks. There'll be chips and salsa and food, all kind of great stuff. I got the details right here. You're not going to have all those shenanigans. Let's see here. They got some giveaways too. That's right. They got some giveaways. Got all kind of good stuff going on. Going to have music at both locations, Flowood and Brandon. Swing by, check them out. They got patios, more. Patios and more. Patios. They have patios at both locations, live music and more. Today, celebrating Cinco de Mayo at El Patrio, right there in Cross Gates and in front of Dogwood. So it should be a good time. If you want to go and have some margaritas, some chips, some salsa, some fajitas, some tacos, it's Taco Monday. Taco Monday. The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Mazda Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. So, talking about this fighting at Margaritas, I mean, look, guys, I could share millions of videos like this. What made this video so good? And there's so much I don't share that people send me about Jackson. And I know we said we were done talking about Jackson, and I also said when a big story happens, we're going to talk about Jackson. And this is a big story to me because this goes back to my culture rot stuff. And that's what this is, culture rot. Clay, you telling me white people don't fight? Now, I'm telling you, white and black people don't fight anywhere else at any other restaurants outside of Jackson in this area. You do not see this nonsense in normal restaurants anywhere else. Yes, is there a fight at a bar every now and then somewhere outside in the county? Shuckers, wherever else? Sure, there's fights. Not like this. Not like this. This was an entire restaurant of women fighting security. Bruh, I don't know. Y'all know The Undertaker used to do those big choke slams? Man, one chick got choke slammed. One got power bombed. I'm telling you, this one security guard in the first video, I mean, he's dropping them 3 pieces with a side and a biscuit on them. I mean, just whooping their butt. I'm telling you, some big fat black girl lost her pants in the whole melee. It was either lost her pants or she was wearing such a paper thin skirt that it rolled right up and she couldn't get it rolled back down. Anyway, she ain't had no business with her pants off and or wearing anything tight enough for anybody to have to see all that anyway. And that goes back to needing some better friends. That goes back to her needing some better friends. Like, girl, girl, you don't need to wear that. You don't need to wear that. Quit believing those thirsty guys in your comments saying you're thick. You're not thick. You're fat. Nobody wants to see all that. Stop. It's disgusting. Half the restaurant's going to lose their appetite the second you walk in, clothed and or not. I mean, she tried to blind the security guard with her nudeness at one point, and I think she got punched in the mouth even harder. Get that away from me. Get that away from me. I can't imagine what it smelled like in that restaurant. Ugh. How many tickets got ran off on? But yeah, so what I was saying was you don't see this anywhere other than Jackson around here. I'm sure there's other pockets of the state this goes on in. With similar culture rot, Democrat death culture issues. You don't see this from black or white folks in Rankin and Madison County. This is a specific to the death culture of Jackson issue, at least in the Tri-County area. Because people just think in Jackson, we can get away with whatever. We got the hip-hop mayor. He loves us. Democrats love this debauchery. It's acceptable. Like, nobody thinks it's wrong. Nobody wants to correct anybody for doing it. They just, oh man, it's just kids being kids. These are damn adults. These weren't kids. Now I'm about to say something that's going to hurt a lot of feelings here. Well, let me say this first. Has the prospective Mayor John Horn come out and spoke out against this violence in his soon-to-be city if he wins the general election? Had the mayoral candidates come out and spoke out against this violence and told us what they're going to do? Has Chief Joseph Wade made a statement? He likes to make statements. Has the chief made a statement about this violence in his city? This is unacceptable that people can't go out for an evening of family fun and food without a whole restaurant turning into a barroom brawl. Now, another story we're going to cover, and I'm going to use this to make a point. Another story we're going to cover here in a few minutes. Has it ever occurred to y'all that this is why a woman was just able to raise over $500,000 for calling a little black baby the N-word, a little black kid the N-word? Has that dawned on y'all that people might be so tired of this that they are donating hundreds of thousands of dollars to a woman that got caught on tape calling a little black kid the N-word? Like, people are like, I don't care anymore. Let's take a call. Good morning, you're on there.
Hey, Clay, it's Ray.
Hey, Ray.
Hey, just wanted to give you a reference. And I'm showing my age here, but I can remember in the mid-'90s when you could go to El Chico at the Metro Center, and they had basically quarter margarita nights, and you could get a pitcher of margaritas for $5, but still everybody acted their age, and nothing went on like what was in that video. I just wanted to use that as a reference.
100%.
That's how much Jackson has devolved since then. I just wanted to put that up as a reference.
Thanks, brother.
All right, man.
All right, Ray, thanks. Look, man, we used to go out and fight. I ain't gonna sit here and lie and say that we ain't never been out to bars and fought. But there's a defining difference in a nightclub and a restaurant on the corner of County Line and Pear Orchard. I remember wanting to open up a sports bar in that same shopping center there at Pear Orchard about 15 years ago. And they told me they didn't want that kind of stuff there. I bet they would love to have a Clay Edwards production in that shopping center compared to what they got going on down there now. And again, this ain't an attack on the people that own the restaurant. They're doing what they have to do to survive in this third world hellhole known as Jackson, Mississippi. I don't blame the business owner. Even if they got a DJ, even if whatever, folks have left and they ain't coming back and they're stuck. They probably got a long-term lease, and they're sitting here having to cater to the culture that's left. It's a bad situation to be in for business owners. It truly is. Let's take a break. When we come back, we can talk about this a little bit more. Other things we're going to talk about this morning is the white woman who got filmed by an alleged pedophile after a little black kid stole something out of her bag. She called him the N-word, caught on tape doing it. And she's now raised more money than Carmelo Anthony's family has in what I'm calling the Carmelo effect. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Rankin County Board of Supervisors effing around and finding out and why people in Hinds County should pay attention to how you get things done when you ain't happy with your politicians. And coming up in hour 3, that's right, it's a 3-hour show this morning. Well, it's a third hour of me starting my brand new show, Heavy Hitters, about outlaw entrepreneurship, where we interview business owners here locally, successful businessmen. Today's guest is Michael Wimberly, owner of McBee's Bar and Grill, successful real estate broker, and more. We're going to hear his story and more. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Can we just start referring to it as the show moving forward? I kid. Welcome back in here on WYAB, streaming worldwide and stunning HD at Save JXN on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. I am encouraging everybody who's watching this on Facebook to migrate to one of the other platforms to start viewing this show. I don't know how long we are for this world on Facebook, if they're going back over 2 years and popping us for posts from over 2 years ago. I've posted a lot of crazy stuff, far worse than a bag of ammo for sale. So I don't know how long we're going to be on Facebook. It could be forever. We could be gone by the end of the day. Be sure to bookmark us and follow us and sign up for notifications if you enjoy watching this show on YouTube at SaveJXN, on Rumble at SaveJXN, or on X at SaveJXN. Just a friendly reminder. Or just listen on 103.9 FM. There's always that. It is a radio show first and foremost that we just so happen to send to all these other places. Hey, real quick, you're looking for somewhere to eat today, tonight, whenever. Burgers, Blues, Barbecue, Flowwood, Brandon, and Madison. Their monthly special. Guys, we had Steven Soller, the owner, on the show. We did a special live broadcast from Pearl Day for Brett Michaels and Warrant. Me and my buddy Daryl Arnold. And Steven Soller and his crew and his young daughter, she was there earning some money, were catering the event with their food truck. And he came over, he talked to us for a little while on the show, and we got talking about their monthly specials and some of the in ways they implement new menu items. And he had brought up a monthly special that I loved, and it didn't make it to the menu. Now, I'm not taking any credit for this, but I will say maybe I wielded a little influence. I kid. Anyway, their monthly special, they brought it back magically a couple of days after him and I talked about it. Their monthly special for May are the sriracha honey chicken sliders with garlic aioli served with fries or their homemade fresh fried potato chips. That's right. They slice their own potato chips and deep fry them. They're oh so good. Get by there today. Try these sliders. Again, they're sriracha honey. It's a flavor that's not available all the time. It's special to these sliders. But while they got it, you may be able to get your wings and stuff with it too. Anyway, give that a try. You will not regret it. Of course, try their plate lunches if that's more your thing. Available 5 days a week. Different items every day. They always have red beans and rice and sausage as well as hamburger steak and then an alternating meat along with it. But the special of the month is the sriracha honey chicken sliders. Can't go wrong there. Stop by, give them a try for lunch or dinner today. Burgers, Blues, Barbecue. Don't forget B3 Catering for all your catering needs. Multiple food trucks available for all your events and more. BurgersBlues.com or B3Catering.com for all your catering stuff. All right, man, this is a hot topic this morning. We're talking about the mayhem at Margaritas, the man versus gorilla qualifying match. I have drafted into my foxhole, not that kind, lefties, into my foxhole, the security guard who was single-handedly whooped about 37 of the contestants himself. So, absolute madness. Now, somebody sent me a picture a minute ago from a very popular restaurant in downtown Jackson. And I'll just say it, Kingfish. Now, he says this picture is from 6:30 Saturday night. Guys, there wasn't a half dozen cars in the parking lot in this picture. I'm just going to pull it back up here and just look again. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this picture wasn't taken with trick photography. This person is a huge supporter of Jackson. They're not going to lie and do any trick photography to try to make it look like there's less than there. It's a wide angle from the back corner of the parking lot looking back towards the Baptist building where the manship and all that is. And there's not a half dozen cars there in this photo at 6:30 on a Saturday. I want you to jump back in the Wayback Machine and think for a second how crazy you would sound if I told you there wasn't a half dozen cars in a parking lot on a beautiful Saturday. I mean, you couldn't have asked for better weather Saturday. Friday night it rained, but Saturday was beautiful weather. I spent the day at the ballpark. I spent the day at the ballpark again yesterday. Man, talk about beautiful weather yesterday. It was a little bit cooler too. I mean, it was magically delicious, the weather yesterday. The only thing missing was some crawfish and beer, but I felt that would have been inappropriate around a bunch of 12-year-olds playing in a baseball tournament. But it wasn't because I wasn't thinking it. Anyway, could just imagine. You would ask what was wrong. And if I told you Democrat death culture, you maybe wouldn't have understood, but today you understood. It's the Chokwe effect. The Lumumba effect. It's like the butterfly effect. It ripples. The Lumumba effect has rippled. It's like a tsunami of death culture, a tsunami of financial hardship. I mean, if you're not catering to hashtag the culture, you're suffering in Jackson right now. It's sad, man. I hate it. I truly hate it. You know, a good business like that, suffering because people don't want to come to Jackson. And people say, and I brought this up, and I'm going to take a break again here real quick because we ran over so big in that first segment. But, you know, online, people love to say, white folks in the suburbs are scared to come to Jackson because Clay Edwards gets on there and just lies and spreads misinformation about Jackson. It only shows you the bad stuff. Multiple pages have popped up trying to replicate what I do. And they say, and they'll even steal my logo, and they'll try to pretend they're Save Jackson. And they say, we're only going to post the good stuff. 3 days later, where's that new content at, dog? I thought you was only going to post the good stuff. You know, in the replies on my viral post on X, somebody brought up the Visit Jackson folks, the Convention and Visitors Bureau for Jackson. I said, nobody has a harder job than the Visit Jackson. And I tagged them. I said, then the Visit Jackson folks, then the turd they have to polish to pretend that there's anywhere outside of Fondren and a block or two in Belhaven and another random block or two throughout the city that anybody wants to come to the city from outside the city for. I mean, you got Martin's and Hallowmouse right there doing all they can, fighting the fight. You've got the block there in Belhaven with the brewery and all that stuff. And look, I commend these folks. I think they're doing a phenomenal job. The manship right there. You got that whole little area right there. Fighting the good fight. Fighting the terrorists. The Jacktown jihadis. Fighting against it, doing the best they can. You know, even with some of their very residents in that neighborhood behind them there, voting against HB 1020, thinking it was racisms. Hell, the Capitol Police only exists to make Belhaven safe, by the way. Only exists to make Belhaven safe. And MAYHEM only exists because Megan West got carjacked. You know, you really want to take it down to one singular incident? It could be because Megan West got carjacked. Whoever's on hold, stay on hold. I got to take a break. We'll come back. We'll come straight to you on the Mazda Jackson phone line. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here on WYAB. We'll keep it real short and sweet here with this ad read because I want to get to the phone call. Huey Magoo's, they are the filet mignon of chicken. At Huey Magoo's, they serve up only the top 3% of premium chicken tenderloins. Huey Magoo's handcrafted tenders are marinated for 24 hours and cooked to absolute perfection. That's right, perfection. And you and your family will absolutely taste the difference. Huey Magoo's is not your ordinary chicken tender restaurant. At Huey Magoo's, they also have wraps, sandwiches, salads, and meals. You hungry yet? You know you are. Try the fries, man. Their fries are really good there. Dipped in that sauce. Anyway, check out Huey Magoo's today. Located Bass Pro Drive in Pearl and Lakeland Drive in Flowood right there along the chicken strip as they've so appropriately named that little stretch of Highway 25 there. That's right, Huey Magoo's, the filet mignon of chicken. Be sure to reach out to them about fundraisers and stuff for your groups as well. They do so much stuff at Huey Magoo's. Locally owned, locally operated. Man, they're good. Go see my buddy Chris. Also, hey, if you're looking for a job, Huey Magoo's always hiring. All right, let's go to the Mazda Jackson phone line. Hey, thanks for staying on hold. You're on there.
Good morning, Knucklehead. How we doing?
Yeah, I thought that might be you. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, would you rather me call back the next hour?
Well, we got 6 minutes here.
All right. Yeah, that's enough. Did you tell your audience about the picture that I sent you? This was Kiefer's on Saturday night.
Yeah,
I drove by there at 6:30.
We got Kingfish.
That's just amazing.
We got Kingfish here on the line. I did. I'm just telling people who we're talking to. We got Kingfish here on the line, Jackson Jambalaya. That's who sent the picture of Kiefer's that I talked about. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, 6:30, Saturday night. Weather's gorgeous. And that's what you always went to Kiefer's for, was this beautiful weather. You sit outside, right? Enjoy it. Maybe you look at the picture, maybe 5 cars in the parking lot. It's like, what the hell happened?
You know, and some people will say, oh, well, they opened up one in Madison. They didn't open up the one in Madison to keep people from coming to the one in Jackson. That's not how that business model works. And
for that kind of food, because we're talking that, everything's basically under $10, $12 on the menu. For Fondren and Belhaven, surrounding areas, northeast, they've got plenty to pull. They got plenty of locals to support it, plenty. But it was just, plus you have the colleges. You remember when you were a broke college student?
Oh, yeah.
That's where you always went, Kiefer's, because you could afford it.
Got a picture of Michelob or multiple pictures of Michelob and Gyros before we went out. And now what are people doing? You can say, oh, well, there's more options. Not really. Not in that price range, not in that area. To me, it's still
not really. And you got two colleges there. It's always popular with them. Or has been. Apparently not anymore, but I also put up a video yesterday, went to Sante South Saturday night, go somewhere afterwards, coming home, so I decided to cut across on Sheffield from Old Canton to Ridgewood. Okay, just cut through, and there's this big vacant lot there. They've never been able to develop it. Now, I'm not talking on the post office side. I'm talking about on the residential side.
Yeah, I actually saved this link to talk about.
Huh?
I actually saved this story to talk about. I'm glad you brought it up.
Oh, okay. Well, what happens is, there's a full-blown graduation party going inside. They got DJs, they got stage, they got lights, all this. Okay, fine and dandy, okay? But guess what? They've got that music. This is 10:30 at night, just cranked up. When I say loud, I'm a metalhead. I love loud music, okay? I can handle loud, trust me. But this is like foundation shaking crap that, you can't even sit inside your house and your walls are shaking. That's how loud it was. And you could hear it over on the other side of Palm Bridges Park by Old Canton Ridgewood. You could hear it loud and clear. So if you're on those houses on Sheffield, living up and down the street there, you're all of a sudden having it, you're under assault. And if you go to next door, you'll see all kinds of complaints about it.
I know. I read some of the
I'm getting called the racist. I'm the Klansman. I had some clown come on this morning talking about what a beautiful, long-winded, beautiful event this morning, and you got to expect this sort of thing living there, but around. No, we don't actually. And over in Madison and Rankin, they don't put up with that crap in the middle of the neighborhood.
So I saved a comment from your post because I read a bunch of the comments last night, and I actually saved.
There's a new one this morning that's real good.
Well, I saved this one to talk about because I thought it was worthy, and it was a reply to somebody. It said, "quote." Somebody had said, "quote." The problem is that the white folks left for the suburbs, and the reply to that was, not all of them, but Democrats do use chaos and crime to create the flight required to make cities like Jackson one-party Democrat-controlled cities forever. I could go on, but that's the gist of it.
And this crap went on to what? Went on to like 1:30 in the morning. Okay, yeah. And they called JPD. JPD came out there after 10 o'clock. I can allow music, but if you're going to do that in the neighborhood, then about 10 o'clock you need to start quieting it down a little bit.
Sure.
But no, they couldn't do that. So, and JPD came out there. Thug culture at JPD, they were like, yeah, no problem here, big deal. Probably because those clowns all want to be in there partying with them,
Yep, I saw your reply to that, and I couldn't agree more. That's exactly what it was, And then they don't even look at and unfortunately, given all the other debauchery, chaos, crime, and murder in Jackson, this is so far down the ladder of importance that they don't care. But to me, this is the quality of life stuff that runs the good people off and creates the chaos and debauchery of margaritas and murder.
One. Over there on that street over by where Tiffany's used to be, over there off of State Street between Meadowbrook and Northside, you've got a restaurant over there called Taste. Heard of that one?
Yep.
And she's basically running a nightclub there is what she's doing. And so it is literally where the street ends and the neighborhood starts. So it's across the street from her, from their parking lot, it was all residential houses. And they're basically running as a nightclub, bands and everything, especially during football season till like 2 a.m. They're all parking in the neighborhood, smoking dope. I mean, you can just making rackets and stuff, you can just imagine, and even though, and they've called JPD repeatedly, they've tried to go to the city. Nope, there is no, basically the thing with the city is do not shut down loud stuff, do not do quality of life stuff. When they used to shut down Capitol Street, they'd call JPD, and JPD would tell them, hey, the mayor told us we're not supposed to do that, so sorry, you're on your own.
Yep. Well.
And then they wonder why people are moving out of Jackson.
Kingfish, I want to pick up this conversation. Will you call back at the top of the hour at 8:06?
Sure.
I want to talk about this a little bit more in depth with you. I got to take this break, though.
Okay.
All
right, thanks.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.
Kingfish, Jackson Jambalaya. I want to hit a few things with Kingfish. I want to hit this Rankin County Board of Supervisors thing with him, too. I know he'll have a take on this because I want to use it as a point about Jackson in Hinds County. And what I keep saying, I'm telling y'all, the residents of Rankin County showed up to Cypress Point Lodge for the Rankin County Republican breakfast Saturday morning with pitchforks and torches ready to run the Rankin County Board of Supervisors out of town. Hell, I know for a fact one of them had his barn burned down. Not over this, but a few years ago over something else. They don't play in these suburbs when these politicians start messing with their property rights. And that's what I think they should do in Jackson. Maybe why they don't, and this ain't being a smartass, it's just being honest, the difference in property owners versus property renters. Either way, we're going to talk about that and more. Hour 2. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We got about a minute here before our top of the hour break. If you're watching online, I'm going to stay with you during the top of the hour break. If you're listening on the radio, just rip that knob off. Just rip it off. Hey, real quick, I want to tell you about a quick experience I had with Ellis Autoplex over the weekend. Friday morning, we dropped my girlfriend's car off. We'll just say it had been a while since the brakes have been repaired. And we'll just say that. Man, Casey and his team got it knocked out real quick. Full brake replacement, everything but the calipers. And, worked so good. She slammed on the brakes a few times when she left, forgetting what it was like to actually have brakes. But they got it knocked out for us at a price we could afford. Got it done quickly. Have no complaints. Highly recommend them. That's right, Ellis Autoplex, not only your destination for the best selection of four-door, four-wheel drive trucks and SUVs in the area, they're also now your destination for automotive repairs, from brakes to full engines and more. Check them out online right there in Flowood, Mississippi on Highway 471, ellisautoplex.com. That's ellisautoplex.com. Check out Casey and the team today. Don't go nowhere. We will be right back on WYAB. All right, sorry. We put a new TV in the bedroom, and I was asking how they worked the remote. I was like, oh, same as always, I think. Anyway, let's see here, man. Let's check out the Guns and Gear text line, and I'll circle back to some of y'all's comments. We got 7 minutes here during the top of the hour break. I saw we had a big audience watching. I didn't want to lose y'all to the commercials. All right, man, lots of text on the text line. Richard says, I live on Hollybush 047 in response to Kingfish, 3 p.m. with some friends over. Had music going outside. Some Karen called the cops on us, and Rankin SO showed up, made us turn it down at 3 p.m. on a Saturday. That's the difference in Rankin County. I'm going to save that for, I'm going to send that to Kingfish there. That's good. That's good. Shout out to my boy Richard. And that should tell you. Look, and fine line here, because Clay likes to party. Clay likes loud music. You'll never accuse me of being a Karen or nothing like that. There's some kids that live across the street from me. For a while there, they get home from school about 2 o'clock, and until their parents got home at 5 o'clock, they had a big, huge Bluetooth speaker in the driveway. Boom, 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 boom. Just loud music. And, I'm in there trying to make videos and everything else. I never said a word. I never said a word because I was that kid for a long-ass time. You know, just trying to have fun. The kid's out in the garage working, doing some welding. You know what? I'm not going to hate on that kid. That's a kid trying to do the right thing. He wants to listen to some loud-ass music while he's in his garage learning how to weld. Ain't even old enough to drive and out there in the garage welding. You know what? I can live with it. Now, if that had been 10 o'clock at night and they were over there doing that, they didn't invite me over, I might call the cops. I mean, you know, pay to play. So, continuing on. Crazy T says, this is why I have always thought that if you work in a city, you should be able to vote in that city. Yeah, talking about the deals going on at Margaritas, I believe. Yeah, I think if you own a business in a city, you should be able to vote in it, at minimum. If you own a business, you should be able to vote. You shouldn't have to you should be able to vote multiple places, where you live and where you work. Now, and when I say that out loud, and I sit here and think about the logistics of that actually being real, business owners and property. Greg, I see all your comments, brother. I'm going to get to them. Greg drives Uber, does a lot of stuff around Jackson and surrounding areas. He's got a very good perspective on a lot of this stuff. Very unbiased perspective. Y'all follow Greg and hit him up for your Uber rides. Hit my boy Jason Odom up as well for your Uber rides. We got some good Uber folks that follow this, listen to this show. Miss Sylvia, Jason, Greg. Those are just the ones I know off the top of my head. All right, we're getting ready to come back from the break. I got to do my silence so I'm not talking over the intro. Y'all don't go anywhere. We're going to have Kingfish calling back in, and we're going to talk about this Rankin County stuff. And then I'm also definitely getting to the white girl that's raised more money than Carmelo Anthony after calling the black kid the N-word. All right, welcome back in to the Free Range Human Show of Choice, the most incendiary show on the radio. It is Cinco de Mayo here on the Clay Edwards Show this morning. Hope everybody's having a great Monday. You're looking for somewhere to pop it off for Cinco de Mayo. I mentioned it to open the show in the 7 a.m. hour. We'll mention it again right now. Our good friends, they got two great locations to serve you today, El Potrillo Mexican Restaurant and Cantina. Having a big old Cinco de Mayo party at both locations. Going to be live music and more. They both got big patios to serve you. Going to be a good time. Swing by, get you some tacos, some fajitas, just some chips and salsa and a margarita or a cold beer. Who don't like a big old goblet full? Those are big old fish bowls full of draft beer. I know I do. Y'all swing by, check them out today. And, of course, check them out anytime. They're open 6 days a week, closed on Sundays. That's El Potrillo, Mexican Grill, and Cantina. At least the Brandon location is closed on Sundays. I'm not sure about Flowwood, to be 100% honest with you. Check them out. El Potrillo, Cinco de Mayo, throwing down there in Flowwood, at Dogwood, and Brandon and Crossgates. All right, man, let's go back to the Mazda Jackson phone line. We got Kingfish, Jackson Jambalaya on the phone with us. Kingfish, you there?
I'm here.
So I sent you that text that I read during the break, and for the radio audience that didn't get to hear it, I want to read this text one more time. From Richard. This was talking about making an example of the difference in calling the police on loud noise and not. This is in Rankin County instead of Jackson. He goes, I live on Holly Bush in 047 Brandon. In response to Kingfish, 3 p.m. with friends over, had some music going on outside on a Saturday. Some Karen called the cops on us. Rankin County SO showed up, made us turn it down, 3 p.m. on a Saturday. And to me, that is the difference in Rankin County and Jackson. What are your thoughts?
I would agree with them. I mean, and some people, this stuff was going on to like 2 in the morning, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning in the damn neighborhood. That's the problem. I mean, and like I said, after about 10 o'clock, you should have to shut it down. I mean, I'll give you, since we're talking Brandon, for example, I love going to loud concerts at the amphitheater, loud ones that stayed last week. And guess what? But the agreement with the neighbors was what? They have to shut it down between 10:30 and 11. I'd love for them to get a second wind and start jamming, to like 1 a.m. there at the amphitheater. I'd love it. You would too. But hey, you got to make compromises, and that's part of it. Here, they're in the middle of the neighborhood, and like I said, I'm the Karen. I can handle loud music. Hell, I got Mexican neighbors, and believe me, on Sunday afternoons they'll have their little shindigs and stuff and cookouts, and they crank it up. Doesn't bother me.
No, well, I think what Richard was saying was if they did that at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, imagine what they would do at 10:30, 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning on a weekend if they got called.
It wouldn't happen because they'd already know.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Kingfish, have you been following this Rankin County Board of Supervisors deal?
I kind of have, but not really.
All right.
I know what's going on. So
same here.
I think they're trying to beautify the place a little bit, kind of bring it, and unfortunately it impacts a lot of people who are not the, more fortunate in society, shall we say.
Well, and I think there was some other stuff in there too, but point being, long story short, they try to, what the citizens are calling trample on their property rights and saying they can't put a mobile home over on a piece of property more than 7 years old, so on and so forth. And look, that may be a bit of a stretch. I think mobile homes have come a long, long way in the last 20 years. In Madison,
they have, but there's one thing that hasn't changed, which is they depreciate like a rock. They go boom,
Madison has a similar policy in place, and it's a 5-year-old policy. So, but Madison isn't as well known for mobile homes as Rankin County. So take that for what you will. But with that said, the citizenry showed up and showed out, and they are not afraid to stand up and fight back against politicians when they disagree with them on something in mass, regardless of what it is. And it's a point that I've been making for a while now, that when politicians over in Rankin do something that the people disagree with, they basically show up with pitchforks and torches, and then they're ready to run them out of town on the spot. And that is the kind of energy I would love to see more of in Jackson and Hinds County in general. I'm not saying I'm not even picking a side on this mobile home thing because it doesn't really affect me directly, but just in general, when they show up in mass,
2 different communities with 2 different mentalities. For example, the community in Jackson, they just don't take an interest in using zoning to beautify areas. I'm not talking about the demolition of Hotel O and stuff like that kind of blight.
Sure.
I'm talking about using zoning to stop crime, to beautify neighborhoods, to actually improve property values and stuff. You wouldn't have a bar you wouldn't let something like the Daiquiri Bar across from King Edward and Mayflower get out of hand and have homicides and shootouts and stuff like that, which has happened numerous times, and then do nothing about it. You would have let someone like that go in there in the first place because you don't tear down your nice areas. Here, what you showed for margaritas, what I'm talking about, we had the juicy seafood, remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
We had the St. Patty's Day parade. It's this certain element that's just, they can do whatever they want, and if you try to push back, you're the problem.
I want to make an example. I want to make an example real quick. You talk about restaurant brawls. My daughter of all people was sitting in Buffalo Wild Wings in Flowood and filmed that big brawl that broke out a couple years ago. I released that video, went viral. I got just by accident, but I posted it just thinking it was a funny ballroom brawl. 2 of my friends got arrested that were ID'd in that video.
I remember.
But what ends up happening is Flowood and Rankin County, they did something. Do you think a single person in that video is easily identifiable as most are going to get arrested and anything done to them at all?
Nope.
Absolutely not. There will be no precedent set.
In fact, I think didn't the Juicy Seafood shut down after that?
Don't get me to line about that. Not sure.
I think they shut down after that.
I'll probably use it as a good excuse to hit the button and get the hell out.
But it'll be interesting to see Margaritas, what their parking lot looks like this week. And you're right. I used to go there. They had when I would go there, they had really good Mexican food.
You used to have to wait to get in
because there's so much more competition now. I just go other places.
Yeah, well, true enough. There's 50 Mexican restaurants at least in the city of Jackson, or around the surrounding areas.
All over.
You can get good Mexican food if you want it. But circling back to the Rankin County thing, it's just I wish that the people of Jackson and Hinds County would stand up when these politicians do dumb stuff. I've been saying it for a while. People will be like, "Oh well, this corruption in Rankin County, that corruption." Like, man, people will tolerate a little bit of it when you're doing what you were elected to do. They will tolerate a little bit of nonsense. But when you start messing with them and their rights, or you're not doing your job, they will run you the hell out of town. A Chokwe would have never got a second term in Rankin County.
And that's what kills me when he goes on national media and would say, "Oh, white flight killed us." Like, I'm thinking, you blankety blank. Like, you really want them back in Jackson? Because if they were back in Jackson, you think you'd be in office? Oh, hell no. He wants them gone. He just wants their money.
Great point. He doesn't want them back in Jackson. You're 100% right. If the white people that moved out of Jackson, and let me rephrase, not just the white people, if the black people that moved out of Jackson too came back, especially if they could ever get off the Democrat death culture plantation and get over and see how the other half lives, and see what quality of life is actually like, being able to stop at a gas station without keeping your head on a swivel, which always have situational awareness no matter where you're at. But generally speaking, if you're not being part of target practice at a random Jackson gas station, you can understand what quality of life is like, what having parks and trails and recreational things. They would never come back.
In those areas, how many so-called community activists you see raising hell about the police and this and that? We got a couple like that guy in Pearl, and the Rankin County Sheriff's Office kind of brought that on themselves. But for the most part, you see them like in Clinton or Madison, Ridgeland, these activists that always like the David Archie types, raising Cain about the education, the police, the crime and stuff like that. Blah. No, you don't. Why? Because the stuff works. I'm not going to say that word, but the stuff works. So, and they're happy with it.
Yeah. If the quote unquote activists in Jackson raised half as much hell about JPS as they did police brutality, Jackson would be 10 miles further down the road than it is.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I said, go read that post of mine. There's some comments on there that went up this morning that, oh boy. I mean, and believe me, I had neighbors. The reason why I'm doing this is because the neighbors were contacting me. They're too scared and intimidated to go out there. All they would do is call JPD. Then when they didn't help, they contacted me. But they weren't going to go out there and confront them. I mean, they had the neighborhood intimidated. Okay.
Oh, sure. It's always like that. It's always like people are scared to go say anything. You go over there and say something, and then you're gonna get messed with. It's like the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
But you know what? You clowns that are coming on doing all this. You know what? I'm going to fix this problem real quick. Guess what I ordered off Amazon today?
What?
A decibel meter. So the next time this happens, and it will happen, make no mistake, I'm just going to pull out the decibel meter out of my car and just sit there and record it. And if it's above a certain amount, hey, here's how loud it was, guys. 110 decibels. You think that's okay in the neighborhood? You know what I'm saying? Most
people don't even understand what a decibel is. That's the problem. You can sit there and tell these clowns.
Oh, but they know how to Google it.
Yeah, there's what is the decibel code in Jackson? The noise ordinance.
I'd have to look it up. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm curious what the outside noise ordinance is. They used to enforce that when they wanted to mess with you. Going back to my nightclub days, when JPD and Vice, like when Gladney and them were down there still, he was too fat to even get up the stairs to come do anything, but he would send other people up to do it. When they wanted to mess with you, they had means and ways of doing it, and they've chosen not to do it.
There's all kinds of little laws on the books they haven't enforced for years that they can dust off,
Man, somebody shared a video on Facebook over the weekend. Apparently Pops has turned into a strip club, by the way.
Are you surprised?
No, not the least bit.
Look who owns it.
Yep. No, I'm not the least bit surprised. And I'm going to say allegedly, just to prevent any lawsuits here. Allegedly, Pops has turned into a strip club, but the video is pretty dang, raunchy. We'll just say that. And again, Clay Edwards loves a big booty, and I'm not against a good time and a big booty here.
I don't know about that. I saw one Saturday night at Sante South that was. This big old 6'2", 3 black woman comes in and she's dressed in this red outfit, very low cut. Oh, hey, I like a low cut outfit. Do not get me wrong. But then she had a big ass booty from hell. I'm talking cottage cheese dripping, okay? And she had the shortest damn shorts on. It was guaranteed to ruin appetite. It made you want to drink wine that night. I'm not kidding. Everybody's looking at it going, ooh, I feel sick all of a sudden,
Well, see, and that's the problem. You get like the woman in that video at Margarita's that ended up naked somehow or another. She looked like she had no bit. Didn't nobody want to see that? There was no world in which any guy saw that and thought, I'm getting a sneak peek at what I want later. It's never that. It's this disgusting, raunchy, overweight women getting up there twerking in places that you ain't supposed to be twerking. I guess Pops is just really a bad example. They just basically turn it into a strip club, long story short. But it's when you see this behavior in places where it just absolutely does not belong. Restaurants.
One time I was at the dock, and it was like 2 a.m. It's crowded and all that. And this chick is like, she comes out the dock, and she's topless, and, well, she got shortchanged in the beauty department. Okay, let's just leave it at that. And I mean, she's topless, so you figure most guys would go, everybody was literally laughing at her as she walked past them. Yeah, look at that. You know?
Yeah, look, man. It's wild.
Ugly is ugly. It don't discriminate. It doesn't pick a color.
it's like I was talking about on Friday's show, the young girl in St. Louis that twerked to her death. It's just there's a time and a place for it, and on the roof of a car, at a restaurant, when you get bad service. At a fast food restaurant, you didn't get your dipping sauce, jumping on the counter and twerking. It's like, is it just a nervous twitch with these folks? I don't understand it, but hey, whatever. I'm not the demographic that really has to worry about it, so it is what it is. Kingfish, JacksonJambalaya.com. Thank you for calling in, brother.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Twerk something. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, here live on WYAB, streaming worldwide at WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search WYAB. This segment brought to you by our friends over at, how about our good friends at Men's Health in Mississippi. Guys, swing by, get you an appointment today for a complimentary testosterone therapy not therapy. What's the word I'm looking for? Screening. Free testosterone screening for testosterone replacement therapy. Just text Clay to 601-327-8550. Our fella that was doing all that swanging and banging in that video Friday night, that security guard, his testosterone levels are A1. No need for him to take advantage of this. But they do offer other things there that he may be able to take advantage of. Maybe he needs some of them blue pills. Whatever. I doubt it, but just saying. Seems like a young, strapping lad. Probably doesn't need anything yet, but he'll get old too. Age will catch up, and when it does, he needs to text Clay to 601-327-8550. Maybe you're a aging bouncer, and you want to be able to swang and bang like old boy in that video was. Low testosterone could be keeping you from getting there. Text my friends out at Men's Health of Mississippi today. Don't forget, they also offer compounded semaglutide, long story short, generic Ozempic, same type medicine, help you lose some weight, keep some weight off, retrain your eating habits. But, man, they do so much more than that. Just youth rejuvenation altogether, personal physician, the whole 9 yards. That's right. They can do it all. Get a sinus infection. Why go to a minor med type place and have to spend all that money? Take advantage of the membership specials at Men's Health of Mississippi and just walk in, walk out. The only thing you pay is for the cost of the shot, and it's not the crazy, outrageous prices. Let them tell you more about that. I don't want to butcher it. menshealthms.com, menshealthms.com, or just text Clay to 601-327-8550. All right, man, let's go to the Mazda Jackson phone line. I believe we got Zach Service, mayoral candidate for Jackson, on the phone. Wanted to chime in on some of the chaos going on in and around the city. Zach, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. I got a text early this morning that y'all were talking about the Margarita thing, and I was like, okay, let me hop on here. And then I heard about the Sheffield thing, and I was like, man, what a week in Jackson. But I think I don't have much to say on the Margaritas issue because I kind of feel like it's self-explanatory that that's just, like, wrong, right? Like, I don't think we need a mayoral candidate to chime in and say it, but then again, our current mayor, like, never wants to call out what's wrong, so I can understand how people could feel the need for that to be done. I wish I knew the context of how that fight broke out.
Well, I'll say this.
I was just lost on it.
Well, it's like the example I made to Kingfish a minute ago about the Buffalo Wild Wings brawl in Flowood a couple years ago that got filmed. They did a full investigation, and people went to jail for that. And you start doing that, it's broken windows policing. You start doing that in Jackson when you have the opportunity. You have all the evidence you need there for disorderly conduct at minimum. You know, at least do an investigation. Figure out who was in the wrong. I mean, they were assaulting that security guard, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I
start making some examples.
I was having a conversation with someone in JPD a couple of nights ago, and you know, he was really venting a little bit to me because he was expressing how, like, and we're talking about the good ones, right? You know, not the ones who got hired from the bottom of the barrel.
Sure.
But the good officers, he's like, you know, they will put in the work to arrest someone. They will put in the work to, you know, confront these issues. Then either A, you know, you'll have the mayor go behind them and mess it up or tell them to lay off. Or on the flip side, you'll have the DA do nothing about it and let them out and they'll end up on the street the same day. I remember he was telling me one person they arrested who had felonies, and he ended up being let out, and they couldn't put him back in. They saw him on the street the same day they put him in to jail. And it was like, it's very demoralizing for these officers, and it's one of the reasons I think why a lot of them won't even bother to engage in some of this lower level stuff, because they're like, they're just going to let them go. Like, they're not going to pursue this once we get them arrested, because the DA is lazy and the DA is corrupt. So, in Jackson, we have to stop thinking at such a small level. You know, it's not enough to just get a new mayor. It's not enough to just get a new council. We need new leadership at the county level too. Like, we need a new DA yesterday. We need better, you know, not all of them, but some. We need better judges that will actually, you know, set an example of some of these folks. That doesn't mean we don't still show some grace, but I mean, come on, when you have these things happening all the time, every day, you have to set a standard. You have to say, hey, look, if you, you know, to quote you in the most, you know, non-exclusive way possible, if you're going to F around in Jackson, you will find out that we enforce the law here.
Yeah, I'm graced out.
I hope other candidates will say that.
Yeah, I'm graced out when it comes to anything like this anymore. There's zero excuse for brawling in the restaurant. I mean, no, you get hit first and you're defending yourself. I mean, sure, I guess there's an exception to every rule. But as a rule of thumb, I'm graced out. Everybody goes to jail. It's like a domestic violence situation. If both people got cuts and wounds, they both going to jail. We'll sort it out when we get there.
Right.
You know, just arrest everybody. Figure it out. You know, just get a copy, get an ID. They're telling how many warrants. If you'll fight in a restaurant, I bet you half the people in there had warrants.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's what we tolerate. If we continue to tolerate that stuff, and that's why I agree with you. Like they need to launch an investigation into those things, because that's when we were talking. That's the first thing I was thinking. I was like, I wonder, are they going to like check camera footage? Are they going to do reports? Because it looked like it was at least 8 folks involved in that brawl, and I'm like, every single one of those folks, they need to see if they should be going to jail. Will that happen? Probably not. You know, I can't say that I see that as a priority to them. But then there's something else you guys are talking about that also was a very good topic, which was this Rankin County Board of Supervisors debacle with their copy and paste responses and apologies, which I thought was hilarious.
Yes, I was going to get to that too. I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, look, I didn't get to all of it with Kingfish, but the copy and paste response from what was it, Calhoun and Scarborough. They just pretty much whoever handles the press for the media for the board put it together. And somebody brought up a great point. So, you know, all this aside, and like I said, it's not necessarily my hill to die on. I tend to lean with the citizenry who are upset usually on stuff like this, because I kind of see myself as one of them more so than anything else. So I tend to lean, not follow the masses, so to say, but I think they're right on this. I don't particularly have a dog in the race right now, but just because I don't have a dog in the race doesn't mean that I won't one day have a dog in the race. So I appreciate the people who are fighting the fight, if that makes sense. And yeah, and you know, and what they did is they effed around and they found out. But people brought up a great point: is who did this? Whose idea was this, and who is going to benefit from it? This was not done out of the kindness of their hearts to beautify Rankin County. This was done to get to backdoor something in, to do something, and then they're cut and copy, their canned responses. I mean, like, I'm told that it turned into a crap show Saturday morning out there at that breakfast they do, the Rankin County Republican breakfast that Brian Bailey and them put on. It used to be McLean, Cypress Point, first Saturday of every month. I'll be speaking at it next month. If anybody's up and about at 7 a.m., 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning, come out, hang out. Friends of mine own the place anyway. It'll be my first time getting to speak at it. So, but it's a great event. It's a great political event. And it's an event where the community goes. They can come, they can show up and show out. It's kind of like a town hall type deal. And I love, again, regardless of what side you're on, I love that people care enough to get up and be somewhere at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning to chew out their supervisors. If we had that same energy in Hinds County and Jackson, we would be so. I say we because at the end of the day, man, I always consider myself a Jacksonian. I say we, because I would love to one day be a Jacksonian again. I don't see it, but one day. Anyway, I digress. I would just love to see that kind of community involvement from Jacksonians. And are there Jacksonians that care that much? Absolutely, there are, but they're drowned out by the ones that don't. Where in these other areas, I think it's the other way around. I think it's probably 50-50. I think you got about 50% who are truly involved and truly care, and you got about 50% who are just blase, but they will follow the leader.
Yeah, and I could say, I've been knocking hundreds of doors this week in South Jackson, and, the overwhelming feeling of the citizens is we fought, and it didn't matter, and now we're just going to accept the results. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this mayoral race is because we need to give people the belief that their voice is actually going to matter this time around because, they're tired of seeing the same stuff over and over and over again. And you can argue the point that for a lot of them, well, you kept voting the same way. But then for a lot of them, the way that how the media works, it's presented to you as if you don't really have a choice. You just vote. There is one option, and that is you vote for the top Democrat in the city, and that's just it. They're not made aware of these other options. I knocked on so many doors. No, I was running. They didn't even know Horn didn't already win the race. So I think that it's going to take somebody, like myself, somebody who's willing to get up and say, hey, we're going to talk about these issues. It can be changed. And your voice does matter. I'd love to invite people to my town hall tonight if that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So tonight at S. Woods Training Academy, if you look it up on Google Maps, it comes up as Impact Training. It's off of Frontage Road and Savannah Street. Safe place. They held a forum there for mayoral candidates a couple of weeks ago. It'll be tonight at 6:30. I think they'll have some light refreshments as well. It's the town hall for Ward 6 and South Jackson residents. Come on out. Share your questions and concerns, and I'll be sharing my platform for the city and my vision for South Jackson because, look, your council members, your mayor members, some of them may not care about your voice, but I do, and I want your voice to be heard.
Love it, brother. Thank you, man. Good luck with everything.
Absolutely, man. Y'all keep the show up.
All right. Zach Service, he's running for mayor of Jackson in the general election as an independent. Guys, we need more people, and he ain't the only one. Our very own Kim Wade here, my good friend, is running as well. And Kim and anybody else running, with Zach calling in, I got to extend the platform to anybody else that wants to call in that's running and speak your mind. You're welcome to. John Horn, whoever else. We need more people that care. That's what I'm getting at. Is I love the passion. Even if I disagree with people on stuff, I love that people are passionate enough to fight for it. Somebody was trying to call in a second ago on the Mazda Jackson phone line. That number is 601-879-0002. We got to take a break. If you want to call back, we'll come straight to you on the other side. If not, we're going to change topics and go to the white girl who's raised over $600,000 after getting caught on tape calling a black kid the N-word for stealing out of her diaper bag at a park up in the Northeast somewhere. Crazy story. The Carmelo effect. It's real. Race relations at an all-time worst in America when stuff like this is popping off. But hey, that's what happens when you raise over $500,000 for a kid that killed another kid based on race. The other side, which is itching and waiting to throw the middle finger up. We're going to discuss that and more. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to the most incendiary show on the RADIO. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Here live on WYAB, 103.9 FM and WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search WYAB. Of course, we're streaming in stunning 4K at save JXN on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. How long we're on Facebook, I don't know. I suggest you follow us at the other places in the meantime. They fired up the censor. They have fired back up the censoring AI tools, and they went back and gave me a strike for sharing a bag of ammo for a locally owned business. Who knows? Whatever. With that said, this segment is brought to you by that locally owned gun store that Facebook and Meta seem to have it out for. Guns in Gear. Swing by, see them Tuesday through Saturdays right there, Highway 51 North, Gluckstadt, Mississippi, right at Yandell Road. Right next, there's an all-new Booze Smokehouse Barbecue in that same little shopping center there. You can't miss it. They're not a sponsor. They should be. But guns, barbecue, that sounds like a great day of shopping to me. Anyway, swing by, see them today for all your guns and ammo needs, new or used. That's right. They have used guns. That means they take used guns as trade-ins, or you can just sell them your gun. Why go to a pawn shop when you can go to Guns in Gear? Swing by, check them out today. They got you faded on all your Cerakoting and gunsmithing stuff as well. Highway 51 North, Gluckstadt, Mississippi. Shop them online 24/7, 365. Guns in, the letter N, gunsingear.co. Gunsingear.co. We got a caller on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Let's see who we got here. Hey, good morning. You're on there.
Hey, Clay.
Hey.
I was calling about the debacle with the Rankin County Board of Supervisors over this manufactured housing thing that they put out.
Yeah, shoot.
I fully understand from a homeowner's perspective about what they're trying to do, because over here we have derelict trailers, we'll call them that, or you want to call them manufactured housing, whatever, but they've been sitting there and all they do is rot. And then we've got other people that are living in trailers around that turn their whole property, some of them are just renting and leasing or whatever, but they turn their whole daggum property into a friggin' junkyard.
You know, I've heard about, can I say something real quick? One thing I have heard about is people turning their property, especially people who have larger properties, and putting a bunch of these old junk trailers out there and renting them to illegals and renting them to people working at these chicken farms, these chicken plants, so on and so forth. So I understand it, you know, if you want to tackle that side of it. I also was told by somebody who just texted in, I don't want to name the builder's name, but said there's a certain builder that keeps going in wanting to build these little small spec houses, and it's bringing down property values. And there was some stuff in there to protect people from that as well. So I don't know. I mean, it's pretty broad, and admittingly, I haven't taken a deep dive into it. My point on the show this morning, I'm going to let you pick back up and say whatever you want to say, was just I love the passion from the community when they get fired up about something. And I wish that we had that in other surrounding communities around here, right, wrong, and different. Be fired up, get involved, go to these things, hold your supervisors and your city council people and your board of aldermen accountable for their votes. And that's what I liked seeing from the folks out in the county over the weekend. I'm sorry, no, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to throw that out there real quick.
Well, for years and years, we've had for something, for better terminology, is a junkie yard ordinance that was trying to keep these people from just turning their yard into a junkyard and just having trashy properties, just totally nasty looking. Well, Rankin County, especially in the outskirts of the cities. I'm not living in the city. I'm out living in the county.
Sure.
But people just treat their property as do as you wish and turn it into whatever you want to. Well, we're trying to look at our property and trying to keep the property values up or increase the property values. And these trashy, lots and everything around in the county are doing nothing but bringing down the property values. And we'll have real estate people come out here and take a look around and say, oh, man, nobody wants to live next, down the road from all with that trash. And, some of these places get into the realm of health ordinances and everything as far as the way they keep their property up. There's, just trash everywhere, and collect something like that. To where snakes and rats and everything else start propagating. So I can understand what the Rankin County Board of Supervisors are trying to do. I think they're trying to put teeth into the ordinance that is already there, that they have been unsuccessful about doing anything about, because of people, saying, well, it's our property. We're going to do what I want to with it and everything. But, it's them trying to put some teeth into the ordinance, Clay.
Yeah, I tell you, it doesn't take, to your point there, if you'll ride down 80 between downtown Brandon and go through East Rankin, all that, you're heading towards Pillahatchee, and especially you're on the other side of Pillahatchee, you can kind of see it. It's $1 million home, trailer. And I don't mean nice trailers, or I don't even want to pick on people with trailers but it's just junk. $1 million home, junk. $1 million home,
we
junk.
Have
it's
some,
just the zoning is
manufactured housing residents around here that have a trailer, or as we call it, manufactured housing, that actually looks more like a house.
Sure.
That have their property upkept and looks really nice and everything. I don't think the Board of Supervisors is going to have a problem with that. But,
sure.
We've got people that will stick a trailer on a piece of property here, move in, and, just let the doggone thing fall apart.
Yeah, they're talking about the 1979 mildew green special that somebody, paid $500, $800 for, spent more money hauling it over there than they did paying for the trailer, throwing it on there, renting it to somebody $600, $800 a month, making some money. That ain't what we need in Rankin County. I don't care if you own your property or not. That's the kind of stuff that needs to be avoided because of the people around. And look, man, I saw a story not too long ago. I want to say it was down in Texas, and I'm gonna have to let you go after this. But I want to say it was in Texas or Tennessee. A family knew a guy that had just got out of prison. They were trying to help him out. They put an old trailer out on the land, rented it to him for like $500 a month, let him do some help around there, whatever. And he raped and killed their little daughter. And I hate to use the worst case scenarios,
exactly
but that's the kind of stuff that can happen. So I understand the Board of Supervisors, if that's their intent. Again, I'm just shooting from the hip here. I have not read the whole thing. I was kind of just excited about the community involvement. But I see the point when you want to avoid stuff like that, and you want to be able to put some things in place to prevent that type of activity from going on. I'm not going to just the worst case scenario, but just prevent somebody from throwing a trailer on the back of their property and rent it to just any old body for $400 or $500 a month. And people are escaping to the county for safety and for quality of life. They don't want to bring, for a lack of a better term, Jackson to the county. So I get it to an extent. And again, I'm saying that without having read the whole thing.
Well, I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you, brother. Have a blessed one. Yeah, look, man, I love people getting fired up about stuff like this. I could talk about this all day, and I extend my platform to anybody that wants to call in on either side of this and discuss it. We're winding down for the day, but coming up, there's a third hour today, every Monday from now until the boss man tells me I can't do it no more. I'm launching a new show starting in about 15 minutes, 12 minutes, something like that, called Heavy Hitters with Clay Edwards. It's a entrepreneur type show. We're going to be interviewing what I call outlaw entrepreneurs, people who did it their way, people who didn't do it the most traditional way, people who maybe didn't go get a business degree and start in the mailroom and work their way up through the corporate structure, or people who weren't gifted the family business and just told don't wreck the plane, people who earned it, built it from nothing, had a vision, saw it through. I call it outlaw entrepreneurship, people who created a business you didn't even know existed, a path to making millions or hundreds of thousands or whatever. It pays their bills. Dang it, successful. Every success is different depending on your perspective, depending on where you come from. Just like I say, rock bottom is different for everybody. Everybody's rock bottom ain't the same. Everybody's rock bottom ain't pushing a buggy with all their belongings down Highway 80 in Jackson. Everybody's rock bottom is different. Everybody's idea of success is different too, but you know it when you see it. You know success when you see it. It doesn't have to have a bold definition. We're going to talk to those kind of people who have created their version of success. And first guest is sitting across from me now, Michael Wimberly, owner of McBee's, amongst other things, is going to be my first guest on the show starting at 9:07 a.m. this morning. I got to take my last break of the day. When we come back, we're going to reset with Heavy Hitters with Clay Edwards, a show about outlaw entrepreneurship. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Let me tell these folks bye. All right, guys. Man, I hate to cut y'all off, but I really want to keep this show separate from – I want to keep the next show separate from the Clay Edwards show because it is completely separate. I don't want to bleed in the content. We missed talking about the white girl that raised the money after using the N-word. What brings a society to something like that happening? I may do a live later today from the house to talk about it. We may just save it for tomorrow morning. But as of right now, the white girl, Shiloh, who called a black kid, a 5-year-old black kid that she caught rummaging through her diaper bag, the N-word, she got caught on tape doing it. Her Give, Send, Go is sitting at let me refresh it. Sitting at $658,000. And the one for Carmelo Anthony's defense fund after the black kid who killed the white kid over in Texas, his defense fund or his money is sitting at $522,000. And I say that hers would not even exist if it wasn't for his existing. Was it white lash? Was it black lash? We'll call it the Carmelo effect. We'll talk about it tomorrow. How did we get to this point in America? I got some thoughts, as y'all can imagine, but we'll table that till tomorrow. I would say don't go anywhere. I'm just going to kill this feed and start a brand new one with the new show, Heavy Hitters. Y'all just tune right back in wherever you're watching at to the new feed coming up at the top of the hour. Y'all stay blessed. See y'all back tomorrow morning or see y'all back here in just a few minutes. Peace. Welcome back in to the last couple minutes here of the Clay Edwards Show. Hope y'all guys enjoyed today. That's the kind of show that I would love to be able to give you guys every day. And that's what the kind of show we attempt to give you every day here, where we hit a little bit of everything. Coming up next here in the 9 o'clock hour, don't go anywhere. It's another hour of Clay Edwards, but it's my all-new show, Heavy Hitters, a show for and about outlaw entrepreneurs and their success stories. I've got my good friend sitting across from me, my first guest, Mr. Michael Wimberly. I'm going to bring him on camera. We'll be streaming live for this show as well. We killed the last stream. We're starting a brand new stream. We'll be able to upload this podcast as a brand new standalone podcast as well. It's going to be every Monday from 9 to 10, where we interview local business owners, people who have actually built something substantial. And we're going to hear their stories, people who have done it their own way, not the traditional way, whatever that even means anymore. And again, my first guest, owner of McBee's, a very successful real estate broker, Mr. Michael Wimberly, here in the studio. We're going to be talking about his story and more for the next hour. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Heavy Hitters with Clay Edwards. It's episode 1 coming right back at you.